That rendition puts out IEBC as an extremely incompetent body because they couldn't verify a name. What can they verify? They cannot verify a name of one person. And now in the general election, they are supposed to verify names of thousands. Do you understand that? This is really a huge indication that going to the 2027 election with this IEBC is dangerous for Kenya. Because elections, they're both emotional and is the glue which needs the country together. Okay, Kenya is put together by how we elect our leaders. This thing can separate the country. So the fact that they couldn't verify a name of a person, one, and they gave us for parliament in Mbeere North an individual who is not a registered voter, it tells me that we need to replace these people as soon as possible.
I want you to explain the situation about voter registration had been closed and this person was not in the register as per the new name.
Yes.
Yes, and his eligibility.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, once IEBC declared an area, an electoral area, you close the voter registration to guard against importation of voters, okay, or manipulation of the electoral process in order to obey Article 81. And they had done that already. So now, Njero is not the same as Wamuthende. These are two different people, okay? So IEBC should not have cleared that person when he's not a registered voter, because the requirement is you have the constitutional requirement. It's not even the Elections Act. Because the Elections Act supports the Constitution. But the local position is for you to be elected. You have to be a registered voter. This Wamuthende guy, according to the information we have right now, is Wamuthende was not a registered voter. It is Njero who was a registered, but these are two different people. Njero then should have been given the certificate of, you know, when you win the election, you get the certificate indicating you have won. But Njero was not a candidate, so you couldn't give to Njero. So they gave a stranger. They couldn't as well have given it to me, because I didn't vote in Mbeere, okay? But I'm a registered voter. So if they couldn't give certificate to Wamuthende, they can give to you also. That means you have polluted the electoral process.
Do you think this is a ground enough for the opposition to move to court and possibly nullify and maybe give
the second person
to the second person?
That is the only ground. I don't think even think you need another ground to nullify that election. No, you don't. Yeah, that is sufficient, because if you don't meet basic qualification, what else do we need? If you did not qualify to participate in the election, then nothing has happened. You see, nothing in the law, nothing has happened. You are wrong up in issue. Nothing happened, basically, because you didn't qualify to participate. So based on that, I think they should move to court. Even on that one, they don't even need to have to move on other things. Just that is enough to disqualify that fellow. Yeah.
And maybe should we have a repeat election there, or should we have
But also,
the second part?
no, I think to avoid, of course, this government doesn't care about spending public money, but to avoid using money for nothing, the best thing is just to have the run-up, the so-called run-up, and be sworn in. That would be the best, is to get now Anato Karish. Yeah, is to have Karish get sworn in. I don't know now whether the law allows that. I've not looked what the law says, but I think the court has a leeway. When it nullifies an election on obvious transgression, I think it can swear in the second person. That is a supposition. It's not that I have fact on that one. Yeah, I think so. I think the way they conducted this by-election, they shouldn't be disbanded. You see, this was the opportunity to make Kenyans have faith in their impartiality. Then they demonstrated extreme partiality. No, they didn't even bother to pretend that they are independent. You see, at least I think Zubgadi was a very good pretender. or even Giboito. These people didn't even bother to pretend. Because you see, they could have sanctioned the police. Okay? They could have complained about the violence in Malava the night before the election. I understand there was polling station issues in Mbeere. Was it touched? If it was touched, that was the reason to cancel the election.
It turned off steam usiku.
Yeah. You know, once you interfere with the counting of the election in any single polling station, the IEBC has power to cancel that election for that reason alone. Okay? They don't seem to have bothered with anything. The fact that the cabinet secretaries campaigned fully, including the Speaker of the National Assembly, they did not sanction them. They know the law does not allow public officials, the cabinet secretaries, to campaign, but they allowed them to campaign fully. They didn't raise an issue. These are people who don't understand the electoral law. They don't have the basic understanding of the electoral law. Therefore, to allow them to proceed to organize the 2027 election is to sacrifice Kenya at the altar of incompetence of a few individuals who doesn't understand that their loyalty, once you take the oath of office, it belongs to the people of Kenya, not the person who appointed you. The moment you take that oath of office, your loyalty now is to the people of Kenya. They don't understand that. The IEBC, they took themselves as part of the executive. They did not see themselves as referees. Okay? They saw themselves as part of the executive. And that is wrong. You need an independent referee. You don't need a referee answering to the executive, because this is how you ruin a beautiful country like this one. Once people have no faith with the referee, what now goes in their mind? And you know, like I told you, this is a very fragile country. The tribal things is already quite entrenched in the people's mind. We tried to go over it in 2022. And then we realized we didn't even go over it. It's still there. So this is an emphasis. That behavior of the electoral body is emphasizing the fact that they signed it with the government. And if they signed it with the government, then they are no longer impartial referees. And therefore, the opposition, if they want to save Kenya, if they are also working for Kenya, because these politicians, you never know who they are working for. Other than looking at self interest, it's very handy to know where their heart really. If they truly want the Kenya that the Kenyans have died for, and they have created, they need to demand an independent electoral and boundaries commission.